did try and she was married.
It's huge news, Sarah.
No, Nancy. Yeah. No, this was, and I moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture shopping. She wanted to get some furniture. I said, I'll show you where they have some nice furniture. I took her out furniture. I moved on her like a but I couldn't get there. And she was married. And all of a sudden, I see her. She's now got the big phony and everything. She's totally changed her look. I better use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. But I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the...
I will never understand how it didn't end there. It should have ended there. My name is Suri Crow, and you're watching the MeidasTouch Network. Trump has always shown us exactly who he is. He was the guy who mocked a disabled reporter, the same man whom 26 women came forward at their own peril, by the way, and accused of sexual assault. And that was back in 2016. But the right-wing contingent was so damn angry that America had deigned to elect a black man to the White House that they would overlook anything to get their retribution and their revenge. So they chose Trump. And not just once, but 3 times. Of course, he lost in 2020, thank God. But here we are, living in the nuclear blast and disaster of allowing this psychopath to hold the reins of power. And even as irrefutable proof stacks up that Trump is indeed a child predator, his minions will do anything to protect him.
Sources telling CNN that top administration officials met today in the Situation Room about the House vote. What does that tell us? What are we learning?
Well, Casey, look, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said that in the briefing today, confirming our CNN reporting that Lauren Boebert, of course, a single member of Congress, not a leadership member, not on any key committees, had that meeting in the Situation Room with the Attorney General of the United States, with the Deputy Attorney General, with the FBI Director. And of course, Lauren Boebert is one of the Republicans who has said she would cross over and sign that discharge petition, which would allow the House to go forward and vote on releasing the Department of Justice Epstein files. Lauren Boebert has just told our colleagues on Capitol Hill that she has no plans of changing her pledge to vote for that. But that extraordinary meeting here at the White House just underscores the stakes of all of this. The White House sought to explain the meeting in the Situation Room earlier today like this.
It is not a coincidence that the Democrats leaked these emails to the fake news this morning ahead of Republicans reopening the government.
Why are White House officials then meeting with Representative Boebert in an effort to try and get her to not sign this petition calling for the release of the files?
Doesn't it show transparency that members of the Trump administration are willing to brief members of Congress whenever they please? Doesn't that show our level of transparency?
I mean, that is absolutely laughable. Listening to Caroline Leavitt, as I call her, her voice, like the more angry she gets, the more like pissed off her voice is, the more you can tell she's lying. Like she's just digging in with the lies, the more like on fire she becomes. I mean, it's truly despicable. Then, of course, there was this rationalization from another MAGA defender.
But just as a reminder, I do know somebody very, very close to this case who is in a position to know virtually everything. Not everything, but virtually everything. And this person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls. And I realize this is disgusting. I'm definitely not trying to make an excuse for this. I'm just giving you facts. That he wasn't into like 8-year-olds, but he liked the very young teen types that could pass for even younger than they were, but would look legal to a passerby.
What is so incredibly disturbing to me is that Caroline Leavitt and Megyn Kelly are both women, obviously white women, defending a predator. Anyone with a few brain cells can figure out that nobody who is innocent pulls a lowly Lauren Boebert. Like she's not the chair of any congressional committee or anything like that. to pull her into the bloody Situation Room. Like that was once like the revered place where bin Laden operations were carried out, where legitimate war plans were discussed. But they pull Trump and his minions pull her in to discuss the Epstein files and to pressure her to remove her name from the discharge petition. Like, that's not happening if Trump is not guilty. Please. And Megyn Kelly, whom, if you recall, Trump said horrible things about. And two, remember this during the presidential debate?
Presidential contender Donald Trump. You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account?
Only Rosie O'Donnell. The fact is, she asked me a very inappropriate question. She should really be apologizing to me. You want to know the truth? You could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever.
I said, how much of this do you take? I have zero respect for Megyn Kelly. I don't think she's very good at what she does. I think she's highly overrated.
Trump, who is the front runner, will not apologize. And I certainly will not apologize for doing good journalism.
Firing off a series of negative late-night tweets about Fox News anchor and Republican debate co-moderator Megyn Kelly, retweeting a comment calling her a bimbo. On Tuesday, Fox News chairman Roger Ailes demanding an apology from Trump.
It's a very small element in my life, Megyn Kelly. I don't care about Megyn Kelly, but no, I would not apologize. She should probably apologize to me, but I mean,
the misogyny of the Republican Party is just next level. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist in the Democratic Party, for sure. But the hallmark, the branding of the MAGA Republican Party is just next level misogyny, the hypocrisy. They have been obsessed with child and human trafficking for years. That's all we've heard about from them. Oh, blah, 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 Biden, blah, 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 Pizzagate. I mean, one of my dear friends, whom sadly I'm no longer in contact with because of her allegiance to the MAGA cult, she used to be always like going out to, or watching conspiracy movies about Pizzagate and human trafficking and, oh my, none of which, by the way, had any factual evidence or proof behind them. And then she turns around and votes for a third time for a man who was best friends with a known child predator. And, here we are. Epstein said that Trump is the worst person he'd ever met. Quote, not one decent cell in his body is what Jeffrey Epstein wrote in an email about Donald Trump. And we're seeing this as more and more information is coming out in the 30,000 emails that are being released by the Oversight Committee. Quote, recall I've told you, I have met some very bad people, none as bad as Trump. Not one decent cell in his body. Epstein emailed Larry Summers. That was Clinton's former Treasury Secretary, and then he became the president of Harvard University. That was back in February 2017, affirming that Trump is, quote, dangerous. And, I've heard Michael Wolff in several interviews, I've listened to him quite a bit, talk about the fact, or what Epstein revealed to him, is that Epstein, who was a clear sociopath, like just a bad human being, a complete narcissist, he had no care for anyone else but himself, that he was in fact afraid of Donald Trump. So that should tell you something. When someone is as evil and as predatory as Jeffrey Epstein revealed that he was worried for his own safety and in fear of Donald Trump, that is how dangerous Donald Trump was in Jeffrey Epstein's opinion. So that's pretty terrifying in terms of the level of depravity that Jeffrey Epstein knew that Donald Trump would go to. And then meanwhile, over on Fox, they are largely ignoring the entire Epstein disaster as these emails are now coming out, and hopefully soon the actual documents, because anything negative about Daddy Trump, they just simply don't cover. They just ignore it. Watch this clip as this female radio host absolutely wrecks premier Trump apologist Sean Hannity as he tries to attack, of course, let's go back to the old tapes, President Biden's mental acuity. They're so pathetic.
I do have a question. I tried to get an answer out of you on radio. Okay. The question is, when did you notice Joe Biden's cognitive decline? And don't change the subject and deflect. When did you really notice it?
Well, I think it was through all of the times that Donald Trump has fallen asleep in public and talked about, magnets getting wet in the last few,
oh my gosh.
My mom had dementia, so I recognize it. And
this is not, it's a very good deflection. You're a professional.
You know what
radio
else
talk
is great
shows.
about Biden's decline is that Trump is all over the Epstein files. And I'm wondering if they're going to release those. Are you covering that tonight?
Not really, because the woman that apparently they're talking about is the one that said he was a gentleman and never did anything wrong. And the person that had a grudge was the guy that got thrown out of Mar-a-Lago 25 years ago. And by the way, when you get thrown out of a club in Palm Beach, Florida, that's kind of a big deal. And it's very humiliating and embarrassing. And he was a convicted pedophile. So I'm not exactly putting a lot of gospel truth in what he said.
Trump was mad that he was stealing his girls, but
Fox News is pathetic. It is poison. It makes people dumber as they watch it. Like that friend I was just telling you about, that's all she made. She just mainlines Fox News. And I watched her MAGA mush brain just lose all ability to critically think. It is a network of misogyny and lies to cover up for powerful men. Yes. And here is one of their chief propagandists at work.
Earlier this year, you swore in 2 Republican members during the pro forma session. So why not swear in Adelita Grijalva, who was elected 2 weeks ago during the pro forma session? Does it have to do with her 218th signature on the discharge petition, the Epstein discharge?
No, it has nothing to do with that at all. We will swear her in when everybody gets back. It's a ceremonial duty. Look, we'll schedule it, I guess, as soon as she wants. It has nothing to do with it.
Manu Raju is a beast. I stan him. He is one of the few good reasons to watch CNN. One of the few. He's just really like a top-notch journalist, in my opinion. Anyway, it was 5.5 weeks later that Mike Johnson finally swore Adelita Grijalva in. It was because he was forced to. Once again, another MAGA minion silencing another woman's voice because Donald Trump told him to. Because Donald Trump told Mike Johnson to shut the government down, to go on a taxpayer-funded vacation, all to cover up the Epstein files. What the hell is wrong with our broken country? Well, here's the root problem. Listen to this clip.
We as a country, our legal system, our institutions, our leaders, we have failed those victims time and time again. Anybody who votes against releasing these files, that's going to be a stain in your personal character for the rest of your life.
She's absolutely right. Like the pedophile protection ring. And anyone who was chummy with Jeffrey Epstein should be ashamed. Republican, Democrat, Independent, should be ashamed. They all knew what he was doing. How could you not? You can't pretend to be that stupid. If you're the president of Harvard University, Larry Summers, I mean, come on. I don't care that the dude's Democrat. At least Bill Gates has apologized for it. He has acknowledged it. But all of these powerful, wealthy men who are like, I didn't know. Bullshit. Yes, you did. And it makes me sick. And when I see other women aligning with these men to protect the patriarchy, it makes me especially sick because you are a gender traitor. You know, my friend that I've been talking about through this, she has a young daughter. Now a young lady. She's making the world worse for her daughter. I cannot understand that. And that is one of the reasons why I was I just had to separate myself from her and several other people whom I still love very much. But I was like, you are a traitor, not only to your own self, but to me and to your daughter and your nieces, etc. And this is what is so frustrating to me and other women in minorities, particularly about why white women continue to vote with the oppressors, because it's true. And, don't come at me in the comments as has happened in the past. I've heard it from some of y'all. Yes, I know there are a lot of white women, myself included. I have always been, liberal minded. I don't think I've ever voted Republican in my life. Hey, I don't think I have. But the majority of white women vote Republican. They continue to do this in election after election. And it's in the data. That's not just Suri Crow's opinion. That is revealed in the data again and again. And it's why other women, minorities get so frustrated with us because you see people like Megyn Kelly and Caroline Leavitt and all of these white women, MAGA folks, aligning with people who are hurting them and hurting other minorities. And, Megyn Kelly may think she benefits by supporting Trump, but she doesn't. Yes, she may be rich and have a big platform, but she has sacrificed her own dignity and the future of her daughters by aligning with and protecting these evil, powerful men. And it's very sad to me. And by the way, enraging, and have you no self-respect on the House floor. I'll believe it when I see it. And I'm so proud, by the way, of Adelita Grijalva from my hometown of Tucson. She's finally been sworn in for standing up. And, I just beamed. Cheesy grin. I was so excited to see her finally sworn in. So let the truth come out and let the consequences fall. Seriously, Donald Trump should have never, ever, ever been allowed to be in the White House. And when all this is said and done and we get through this horrible time in American history, we need to do a lot of legislation reform so that nobody like the monster that Donald Trump is can ever, ever get inside the White House or anywhere near the halls of power again. All right. Remain fierce. I will see you back here soon. Please follow me on all my socials below and on my Substack. And peace.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.